Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. I have been wanting to make a video about the best romance books of 2023 so far according to Goodreads readers. The article with the best books of 2023 actually went up back in June, but I finally managed to finish up all 9 books in the romance category. This isn't related to the Goodreads Choice Awards or anything, but I am sure that we're gonna see those books pop up when the time comes for the Goodreads Choice Awards. But yes, each category has 9 books. If you want to see that article, it's called Readers Hit Books of 2023 so far, that is. And here are 8 of the 9 books that Goodreads chose for the best romances. All of the ones that I have are the traditionally published one. The one that I don't have is indie, though it's actually not going to be indie for much longer. So we have Happy Place by Emily Henry, Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, Final Offer by Lauren Asher, Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score, X's and O's by Amy Lee, Meet Me at the Lake by Carley Fortune, The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren, and The Right Move by Liz Tomforde. I actually had already read almost all of these books already before this list came out. I read like 7 of the 9 books, and the last 2 books I finally read over the past week and a half. I only had Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez and The Right Move by Liz Tomforde left to read. But now that I've read all 9 books of the supposed best romances of 2023 so far, I'm gonna rank them in order of worst to best. I'm gonna share which books are actually worth the read, which ones you should definitely skip, and I'm gonna pick which ones are actually the best romances of the year so far. Starting off with number 9, the absolute worst of these 9 books, the one that I just cannot recommend ever. Usually I don't really hate books. I rarely ever give 1 stars, and even rarely do I ever DNF a book, but this one was just so bad that I could not finish it. So the worst of the bunch, number 9, goes to Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. Is it all that surprising that I didn't like this one? Not really. I mean, as much as this publisher and this book has been pushed as a romance, it's not one. But I saw this book everywhere, especially in the romance sphere, so I was like, okay, let me just try out this book, see what happens, see how it goes, and yeah, it was so bad. I truly had no idea what I was getting into when I read this one. First off, this book is 3 chapters long. Why the author decided to write such long ass chapters, I have no idea. It's about 300 pages and each chapter is about 100 pages, and it is just so painful to read. So the heroine is a comedy writer. She's a sketch writer for SNL, and I was only able to make it through the first chapter. I had to DNF after that because I just could not keep going. But this first chapter was so boring. It's basically her talking about how SNL works, how it's like to work for SNL, which I could not care less about. If I wanted to learn about SNL, I would not pick this book up. But this entire first chapter is just her talking about SNL and her hating on a lot of stuff, including famous men. And of course, the love interest here is a pop star. So already during their first meeting, it's kind of painful because she already has some sort of bias against him. That wasn't fun to read at all. But my breaking point here was chapter 2, which takes place during the pandemic. And it actually does get into the pandemic and the politics of it and everything like that. And it's all told in email format. It's an epistolary format, but the thing that I just could not deal with was the fact that I listened to this in audio, and having to listen to emails going back and forth in audio is the worst thing ever, because the narrator has to narrate the froms and tos and forwards and replies, all the emails and stuff, which got tiring fast, so I had to give it up. I made it through a chapter. I know that normally wouldn't seem like a lot, but given that this chapter was over 100 pages long, I gave it what I could. So Romantic Comedy, the worst of the bunch here. I would not recommend it. Please just skip this. And then the second to worst book of this romance list is a book that I also did not enjoy. I gave this one 2 stars. My review of this one on Goodreads is actually my most liked review ever. It still continues to get likes because it's not a very favorable review. So number 8 here is Meet Me at the Lake by Carley Fortune. Carley Fortune has been a pretty big author since her debut last year, but I have yet to enjoy enjoy any of her books so far. This is only her second one, but her first one was not that great. I give it 3 stars, and then this one, Meet Me at the Lake, I liked even less. I gave this one 2 stars. It was a very frustrating type of read where you just don't like the main characters, you don't like their motivations, you don't like their choices. Both the main characters were just very annoying here. I will say, at least going into it, I wanted to like it a lot more than I did because I am a sucker for second chance romance. It is my all-time favorite trope. I love angst. I love when the main characters have some sort of history together, but the history that these two had in Meet Me at the Lake, it was literally a day. They knew each other for 24 hours 10 years ago, and they have never seen each other since. They only reunite a decade later because of the heroine's mom's passing. The mom left the heroine her lakeside resort, and the hero is hired as the new business consultant. The premise of the romance did at least sound a little bit interesting when I first started it. Basically, the main characters, they met for those 24 hours, they felt this connection, but they were with other people at the time, so they decided to reunite, meet each other again a year later at the lake. But when the heroine shows up, the hero never does. He ghosts her. So understandably, when they do reunite at the heroine's newly inherited resort, lakeside resort, she is not feeling very happy to see the hero again. But what made this romance fail was how all her feelings that she had from a decade ago instantly come back as if that decade never happened. I just could not understand it. She knew this guy for 24 hours, if that, and she's still so in love with him. She has never stopped thinking about him. And I'm just like, this dude is not worth all of that effort. And the unfortunate thing is that I felt the hero just didn't put any sort of effort into their second chance. Like, he was not giving anything to the heroine. He was not showing that he missed her. He's not showing that he still cares about her, that he loves her. He just didn't do anything that warranted her falling in love with him again. And the worst part of it all is that she had to do all the chasing. She literally had to chase him at the very end of the book, even though he was the one who ran away. I just hate romances where only one party puts in like 90% of the effort in the romance. So Meet Me at the Lake was not for me. I don't think Carley Fortune is for me in general, unfortunately. I just hate that she continues to write second chance romances, and I always want to read them. Number 7 on this list is a pretty easy pick for me. Actually, all the bottom 3 books were easy to decide on. It's when I get into like the 4 stars and up that I had to do a little soul searching. But the one in 7th place, I am a little sad to be giving 7th place to, because I love this author. I've loved all of her other books, except for this one. It is Happy Place by Emily Henry. This one I'm still so disappointed I did not love because I had such high expectations for it. I really thought I was gonna give it 5 stars, but it was like a 3.5 maybe. First off, I was a little annoyed that this came in hardcover, so it does not match all of her other paperbacks. And second, I thought I was gonna love it because it has my favorite trope. It actually has quite a few of my favorite tropes. It's got second chance, fake dating, and forced proximity with the whole only one bed thing. The whole idea of it sounded incredible because the main characters, they were in love, they were together, they were a couple for years until they broke up a couple months ago, but they haven't told their best friends. And now they're going on their yearly trip with those best friends, and then one of the other couples has announced that they're gonna get married, so now the main characters, the main couple, they decide to continue pretending to be together so they don't ruin the engaged couple's happiness on the trip, which means they have to pretend to be all lovey-dovey again. They have to share the same room, share the same bed, and it's very painful for the two of them because there's clearly a lot of unfinished business and they clearly still love each other. The sad thing about this book was that I was so much more invested in the friendships, the friendship dynamics than I was with the romance. I could not connect with the romance at all. I felt the hero was so boring, so very one-dimensional. Usually I fall head over heels for Emily Henry's heroes, but this hero here, was completely forgettable. And it was also a very sad read. Normally when I read Emily Henry, there is a good balance between all the comedy and all the emotional parts, but here it was just mostly sad and depressing. It wasn't as funny as her other books. There weren't as many quips. There wasn't as much good banter. It was just such a letdown for me. And also, I'm not a huge fan of second chance romances where pretty much half the book is set in the past. I need more development when it comes to present day because the present day romance is what really matters. So Happy Place is 7th place. I am so sad to be giving such a low ranking to Emily Henry, but what can you do? Number 6 for me is like a 3.5 to 4-star read for me. It's like a low 4 stars, but I did still like it. This goes to X's and O's by Amy Lee. This one probably has the best premise out of all the books here because it's about a romance book influencer heroine. She decides to live out her own second chance romance and revisits all of her exes to see if there's one that got away. So basically, if I were a heroine in a book, I would be this heroine. The hero is actually not one of her exes. He is her new roommate and he is a firefighter. He very reluctantly goes with her on her quest to get her own second chance romance, all while they end up falling for each other. It is super cute. It's as cute as the whole blurb sounds. I just didn't fall completely in love with the book because it felt very surface level for me. The character development wasn't as good as it could have been, especially for the hero, but it was still an enjoyable read. It was definitely nothing like anything else that I'd read before. It felt very meta. I am a romance book influencer reading about a romance book influencer falling in love. So this one does get a more middle of the ground ranking. Now the middle ranking, number 5, goes to a book that I was pleasantly surprised by. So 5th place goes to The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I say I was pleasantly surprised by this one because this is a standalone spin-off to the Soulmate Equation, which I thought was so boring. So I was definitely surprised by how much I enjoyed this one so much more. This heroine absolutely made this book for me. She is so much fun to read. This time we have a heroine who is a romance book author and she decides to sign on this reality dating show that's being produced by the hero so she can live out her own happily ever after. It's basically like The Bachelorette, but romance book style. Like each character, each hero has his own little hero archetype. The whole reality show was super entertaining. I loved how it was set up here. But like I said, the hero isn't actually one of the contestants. He is the producer, the guy behind the camera. He's also a single dad. He has this adorable daughter and he's British, so he's got a lot of good things going on for him. The romance was great. The heroine here is the one who is a lot more forward than the hero. She's the type of woman who goes after what she wants and she wants the hero. They do have to keep things under wraps though, just because of the show. They don't want the show to be ruined by their romance, their little fling. It's just a very wholesome and heartwarming read. It is not steamy though. If you read Christina Lauren anytime in the past few years, then you know that their books are just not as steamy as they used to be anymore. But other than that, I had a lot of fun with this one. This easily gets 5th place for me. And now we're on to my top 4 books of this list. These are all books that I absolutely recommend. These are books that I adored. For my 3rd and 4th place, I did have a little trouble trying to decide which book to give which ranking. They were both neck to neck for me. They were very solid 4-star reads, but since I have to rank them for this video, I will give 4th place to Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the 3rd and final book in the Dreamland Billionaires series, which is about these 3 brothers, and this final brother is the one who has the messiest life. He is an alcoholic. He's a functioning alcoholic and he gets his own second chance romance with his childhood sweetheart, his childhood best friend. He wrecked both of their hearts when he broke up with her 6 years ago, but now he's back because he needs to get his inheritance from his grandfather's will, and in order to get it, he has to spend one summer at their family's lake house where the heroine is currently living. So they are forced into each other's lives again. It's super emotional. I loved the hero's redemption here. He has a lot of making up to do and the heroine does not make it easy for him, but she is also very understanding of his problems. The main reason why I'm giving this one 4th place instead of 3rd place though is because I wasn't the biggest fan of how the hero's rehab was played out. Even though most of this book is about the hero dealing with his messes, dealing with his alcoholism, the actual rehab part was very glossed over. As much as I enjoyed these characters and their romance, the ending here did feel a little bit too easy and simple. So number 4, I'm giving to Final Offer. It's still a fantastic read. I still highly recommend it. It just didn't quite make my top 3 here. Third place has to go to Things We Hide from the Light by Lacey Score. This was the one that I flip-flopped between with Final Offer, but this one did edge it out just a little bit to take number 3. This is book 2 in the Knockemout series, the second standalone in this small town romance series. Book 1 was one of my absolute favorites from last year. I did not love it quite as much as the first book, but I still really enjoyed it. I adore these characters. I love the whole cast of characters in this small town. Lucy's Score's writing is hilarious, but we do have a lot of emotions and heart here in the second book. It's not quite as over the top as book 1 was, mostly because we have a hero here who is dealing with trauma, dealing with PTSD. He was literally shot, so he's dealing with the trauma of that, all while trying to find out who shot him, and all while falling for his new neighbor who is very much anti-relationships, anti-love, and who is so ready to get out of Dodge once she's finished with her mission, and the hero does not want her to leave. The blurb kind of makes it seem like their romance is enemies to lovers. I wouldn't say it goes that far, like them becoming enemies, especially not when the hero knows that the heroine is the one for him. But it does take him a little while to deal with his internal trauma before fighting for the woman that is meant for him. I also loved reading about a heroine who is so anti-relationships but slowly gets suckered into this small town and suckered into all the different small town relationships. She finds herself so ingrained in this community. It was kind of hilarious to read because she never wanted that, but she does fall for this small town. She falls for the hero. The hero has this adorable dog she also falls for. It was just a very fun read and a great follow-up to one of my favorite books. I have 2 more books to rank. These are my top 2 of the 9 best romances according to Goodreads, and second place goes to Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I adore this book so much. It is one of my favorites from Abby Jimenez. Maybe not my top favorite, but definitely in the top 3 for me. It was so freaking adorable and romantic, emotional and heartwarming. So many feels here. It's a romance between 2 doctors. The hero is the newly hired doctor at the heroine's hospital, and they have a terrible first impression of each other, but things slowly start to change when he sends her a letter at work and they start exchanging these very heartfelt letters. They are so cute here. I love the whole epistolary thing going on. They become such good friends and they start looking forward to seeing each other at work all the time. Both of them do have a lot of issues that they are dealing with though. The heroine, she's just gotten divorced from her cheating husband. Her brother is running out of time to find a kidney donor, and the hero is dealing with a lot of anxiety. His ex is getting married to his brother and he wants to show his family that he does not really care that much. So when the hero's kidney turns out to be a match for the heroine's brother, in exchange for that whole donation, he asks the heroine to be his fake girlfriend. So we also have some fake dating here, and it is the freaking sweetest. I just adore the romance here. There is so much good angst, so much good push and pull. Both the main characters want each other. They've fallen for each other, but they don't want to ruin anything between them. They're so scared to put their feelings out there, obviously because both of them have been burned before, but it's just so sweet between them. I love how completely gone and head over heels that both of them are for each other. I love them so much, so I have to give second place to Yours Truly. And that means that the final book, the one that deserves first place for me, is The Right Move by Liz Tomforde. This is actually the book that I read the most recently, the last book that I had to read to finish up these 9 books, and of course it turned out to be the best one. This one is also fake dating, but it's a sports romance this time. The hero is an NBA player. He is a basketball player. I had very high expectations for him because literally everyone who has read this book is obsessed with this hero, and now I totally understand why he is the dreamiest. I mean, at first he is more on the cold, unfeeling side, or at least he tries to be. He's currently one of the biggest NBA players, and that makes building relationships, whether it's friendships or romance-wise, it makes that very difficult for him. So he's the type of person to push people away, but the heroine is so very unpushable. The way this man falls so hard for her, the way that he is so gone for her is the swooniest thing ever. This is a best friend's brother romance. The heroine is best friends with the hero's sister, and unfortunately she has just gotten out of a bad relationship where her boyfriend was cheating on her, so now she needs a new place to stay. Her best friend offers up her brother's apartment against his will, so now they are roommates. They're very reluctant roommates because he does not want her there. He does not want her mess and her chaos. They could not be more opposite, but so perfect for each other. And then the whole fake dating thing comes in because he wants to impress his general manager, so he pretends that his roommate is his girlfriend. Obviously it plays out exactly how a fake dating romance would. It all just felt very genuine and real, and I love them so much. I love the way that she opens up his heart. I love the way that he shows her her self-worth. It was such a well-developed, well-written romance. I can see why so many people love this one so much, and now I do too. So this one deserves the #1 spot for me. And that's it. That's my ranking for the top 9 romances of 2023 so far, according to Goodreads. Let me know if you've read any of these books, how you would rank these top 9, or which one's your favorite, which one's your least favorite. Let me know. As always, links to everything will be down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!